I myself am from Sweden, living in Paris, and I've been this is a subject that I'm so passionate about since more than 10 years, personally and professionally. I love health prevention, and I've been working in this field in Paris on several longevity clinics and functional medicine clinics, such as Centre Vitruve and Maison Epigénétique, but also at the Turi Health, which was a functional medicine platform. So, as Lucien said, I'm a nutritional therapist. I'm specialized also in eating psychology and functional nutrition and microbiome and gut health. And today, so as Lucien said, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them, put them in comments, and in the last 15 minutes, I will try to answer some of them. And it's going to be dense, so we're going to dive into this presentation. So first of all, this is a collaboration that we're partnering together with IFO-global as a parascientific collaboration rooted in a shared mission that we have together. And it is to empower you with knowledge, with support and practical tools for real, long-lasting well-being and wellness. So this is not just a one-time webinar, but it's the beginning of an ongoing journey through engaging sessions, insight, and also practical guidance. And we want you to feel better in your body and make confident, informed health choices every day. So our goal is that you will walk away from this webinar feeling supported, inspired, and truly want to take charge of your health. So today's session is not focusing only on presenting do's and don'ts, but we want to provide a fresh perspective that is grounded in science, prevention, and empowerment. So by the end of this session, my goal is for you to have more informed and empowered and inspired information that will make you take small, impactful steps toward achieving long-lasting vitality. So most people today are waiting for a diagnosis, a crisis, or a burnout before they make a change. But that usually, sometimes that is too late. So what if the best health decision you can make today starts before there is a problem? But then we have to know what there is that could be wrong. So what happens today in today's society in modern healthcare is that sometimes we're considering fatigue, stress, inflammation, and hormonal imbalances as normal, but they're not. They're symptoms. These are signs that our body, it's a language that our body is telling us that something is wrong. And the system is treating symptoms today, not the systems. And we need to focus. It focuses on fixing more than understanding what's happening as a root cause. 74% of all global deaths today are due to chronic diseases, and it's affecting approximately 41 million people annually. But what is chronic disease? Chronic disease is also known as non-communicable diseases that are not transmittable from person to person, but they're long-term health conditions that progress slowly and are not transmitted from person to person. And these include cardiovascular diseases, chronic respiratory diseases, some of them, some cancers as well, diabetes, and mental health disorders. And what do they have in common is often the chronic inflammation, unbalanced blood sugar, insulin resistance, but also altered blood lipid profiles such as cholesterol, low vitamin D levels, and we also have to look at our body composition and blood pressure. So there are 5 key factors that drive chronic disease, and they're all, we can all take actions upon them. So the first one is poor nutrition and ultra-processed foods. Our bodies are built from what we eat, and ultra-processed food rich in sugars, additives, industrial oils disrupt our microbiome, so the gut flora. It will spike our blood sugar and create this low chronic inflammation from what we eat. So by just adding more whole, real, colorful foods to our daily basis, this food will give your body an information. And this is one of the first most tangible steps that we can do for our health. The second one is chronic stress and sleep disruption. And stress isn't just about the mind, it also speaks directly to our body by affecting our hormones, by affecting our immune system, and also even our gut. And likewise, sleep is when our brain is detoxifying and the body is able to heal at this point. So once again, both these factors are modifiable factors. Stress reduction, or if you change your perception on stress, it doesn't require to go on a retreat, but you can start with 5 minutes of deep breathing every day. And it's the consistency in what you're doing that will give you long-lasting results. The third one is sedentary lifestyle. And this is something that we're not moving our body enough. And it's not only about doing sports, it's more about being in a movement or physically active. It's actually about our biology, where movement will move our lymphatic system, but it also will balance our blood sugar. It will regulate our mood and enhances also our detox. So it's about moving with joy and with consistency by walking, stretching, dancing, everything counts. And this will certainly stimulate our endorphins, and these are our happiness hormones that makes us feel good. The fourth one is this disconnection from our body and its wisdom, its innate wisdom. And this is a very subtle one, but it's deeply powerful, as many of us are overriding our body's signals today, such as hunger, fatigue, intuition, our desires even. And sometimes it's just because we have been conditioned to, it's a habit of ours. But true healing and true health can start only when we start listening to our bodies again. And these symptoms that I'm talking about, these are messengers. Reconnecting to the foundation is of sustainable change through asking your body, what is my body asking for right now? If you ask yourself that question and tune in, then listen without any judgment. And there is a fifth one, which is toxic load and environmental exposure as well, and that we're talking a lot about today, as there's a lot of heavy metals, pesticides that have been used also. We live in a world filled with invisible toxins, from plastics to pesticides, and while we cannot control everything, we can reduce its burden. And it's our organs, such as the liver, the lymph that I was talking about before, and the gut, that are it's our detox ally. So these need support through food, through sleep, through movement. And these small changes, like swapping plastic containers to glass ones, or supporting our detox pathways with eating more cruciferous vegetables such as broccoli, it can make a meaningful difference. So you don't have to change everything overnight, but to make small intentional shifts can create a ripple. And prevention starts with being aware, being present, and health starts with tuning in and listen to your body. So I really like this quote by Dr. Mark Hyman, because it reminds us that our genes are not just our destiny. Yes, we will inherit certain predispositions, but how we eat, how we move, how we sleep, how we think, how we live, these are the fingers on the trigger. So we truly have the power to change. And most people might associate prevention by not just getting sick, but it's a limited view, because true prevention gives us freedom to have energy, to travel, to play with our kids or with our grandkids, to dream without feeling or being drained of fatigue. And it gives you energy every day, not just to survive the day, but to live fully and deeply what you desire. And prevention is also about clarity, because when your body is not inflamed, your mind will sharpen, and you feel more present, and you feel more powerful. And as I said before, chronic disease are preventable, and these are actions that we have in our hands, but they develop quietly over time through small imbalances, through small symptoms. And this means also that they can be reversed by avoiding reversed or be avoided by taking actions in time. So some of the modifiable risk factors that are pretty clear is to avoid tobacco, or changing our diets, inactivity, alcohol, unmanaged stress as well. So prevention, when you're talking about prevention, it not only enhances our health span, but also our lifespan. We live better, longer. So there's a paradox today in the modern society, because we live actually in an obesogenic society, and we're consuming more calories than ever. We're deeply undernourished, lacking those essential nutrients, and our diets are mostly ultra-processed, refined foods, high in sugar, high in fats and salts, but low in these essential nutrients like vitamins, minerals, and fibers. And we have to know that it's not a lack of willpower, because we're being biologically misled by the society. Ultra-processed foods will hijack our brain, the brain's chemical messaging, which will disrupt our hunger hormones and satiety signals. So it is sometimes difficult to break habits that we had for a long time. And these foods are truly engineered for addiction. And what are the results? The results will be overweight or obesity. We see a lot of type 2 diabetes that is even coming down in ages. It used to be an old person's disease, and now we see kids with type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, fatty liver, and today we're talking about metabolic non-fatty liver disease as well. It's not about consuming too much alcohol, but consuming too much sugars that will lead to fatty liver. And what is staggering is that there is an annual intake of refined foods per person in the US we see that there's added sugars. It's more than 25 kilos. Sugar sweetened beverages are 154 liters per year. These are huge numbers that will impact our everyday life, but also over time. So we often think of food as just fuel, but in truth, it's part of a living system, and it's actually also information for your body. It's our body needs more than just calories. It needs information, and I think it's important to come back and remember what are the first nutrients. It's time to get back to the basics. So when I talk about back to the basics, the first nutrient is actually oxygen, because we can live weeks without food, without water, but only few minutes without breathing. And our metabolism, our nervous system, our digestion are deeply linked to our breathing. The second one is hydration. And water, it carries our nutrients, it removes our waste, it will regulate our temperature, and it literally fuels our cell communication as well. 70% of our body is made out of water. So it's super, like the first sign of fatigue is mostly because we're dehydrated. And the third one is actually food. And food is not just energy, it's information. It carries instructions that will affect our gene expression, but also how our brain is working, and also our hormones, how our hormones will behave as well. And this is where the magic of food lives. We must also not only bring in the food, but also we need to absorb it. We need to eliminate it as well. And this is why I'm talking about having this flow. It's coming in, it's being digested, we're using it, and then we have to eliminate it as well. So you can have a perfect meal, but if your gut is not functioning well, for example, or if your detox systems are not, if they're clogged, or if stress is hijacking your digestion, the nutrients will not do their job. So it's all about taking all the aspects together. It's about breathing well, hydrating, and eating wisely. So let's dive into some science on the connection with nutrition and chronic disease. So chronic conditions such as diabetes, cardiovascular disease, even MAFLD are complex and multifactorial. So, but it's critical to know that they all start with some kind of metabolic imbalance, and these imbalances are influenced by nutritional patterns and body fat distribution, and not just weight. And this is important to know, is that we have to look more on our waistline than just what is on our balance. And when it comes to waistlines, for men, we have to avoid to be over 94 centimeters around the waist. And for women, it's 88 centimeters. And this is the first risk for cardiovascular disease, but also other metabolic diseases. So there's a recent research that highlights that even non-obese individuals can develop non-dog fatty liver disease that is now conditioned and recognized as MAFLD, metabolic non-alcoholic liver disease. And due to factors such as poor diet quality, excess visceral fat around the waist, and even gut imbalances, and this is why we have to be careful with our digestion. There's one study that is emphasizing how visceral fat will not the total weight, will fuel inflammation, but also insulin resistance and liver dysfunction. And we have to know that it's also about even lean people can silently develop these diseases. We have to go look further than just the body mass index alone. We have to go and look at other blood markers as well. So there was this one study that just came out as well, presenting us how modern chronic disease from cancer to neurodegeneration are also intimately linked to dietary patterns. And once again, these patterns are modifiable. And we can, just by adding more plants, so plant-based diets, can reduce this cardiovascular risk as well. And it shows that diets such as Mediterranean diet, the Nordic diet can prevent chronic inflammation and also metabolic disease. There's one French study that is quite powerful because it was quite massive in scale, and it shows how how it will actually change the public health policy, such as the Nutri-Score and PNNS. So they found that the intake of ultra-processed food will higher the risk of chronic cardiovascular disease, diabetes, some cancers, but also depression. So their advice were eat less processed and more whole foods. And this is now a national recommendation that has been put in place. It's very difficult to study diets over a long time, but the one that is the most studied today is the Mediterranean diet, and it is truly the diet that will promote long life and vibrant health. And we see it all over the blue zones. The blue zones are zones, there are 5 different zones all over the world that such as Okinawa in Japan, there is Lomilina in the US, in Greece as well, in Crete, and Sicily in Italy, where they have the most the most long-lived people. And one of the outcomes, what they see is that they have this Mediterranean style of diet. And so we can see, like, from all over the world, study after study shows that this dietary pattern that Mediterranean diet has is not only to prevent disease, but also promote this vibrant aging as well. So there was one trial that showed that eating more olive oil and change a handful of nuts will lower the cardiovascular risk by 30%. So we're talking about small steps with big impact by swapping ultra-processed food with whole food. But what makes a healthy diet then? Let's go back to common sense, I would say. So whole nutrient dense food in its most natural form possible. I used to say that try to eat as much natural food without any ingredient lists as possible. Try to eat the rainbow. Bring in the most variety as possible, colors in vegetables and fruits, whole grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds, because when we bring in these foods, we will naturally crave more of the ultra processed, because we're truly feeding from inside out our cells in our gut with these foods. And then of course, it's important to bring also balance in our macronutrients. So macronutrients are our proteins, our fats, and our carbohydrates. So complex carbohydrates that will provide us with fiber that will fuel our gut microbiome, but it will also bring us satiety as well. Healthy fats are super important to support, but it's the building blocks of our hormones, and it's also super important for the brain function, as the brain is 70% fat. And then we have the proteins, which are essential for muscles, immunity, and neurotransmitters. Although personalized nutrition might be important at some point, as depends on our age, our gender, our activity levels, our genetics, our hormonal states, our gut health, and cultural background as well. So we have to know that what is healthy for one person might not be the optimal for others. And this is about knowing your body. And then we have the fourth, which is sustainability and seasonality as well, as we're rhythmic beings. The best is to eat as seasonal as possible. Try to eat local produce when we can, when we have the choice, to support these internal rhythms that we have in our genes. And just be mindful of, where does my food come from? How can I choose more low impact food as well? And choose more high vitality choices, such as organic or even regenerative agriculture when it's possible. So I have a few questions for reflection for you that I want you to reflect upon. How do you feel most mornings? Do you wake up rested, or do you wake up tired, or do you feel tired and wired? Do you notice any daily symptoms that you've come to ignore? Mostly, that would be also fatigue, but it could also be digestive issues as well, such as it should be that it would be normal to be bloated after each meal. And when was the last time that you truly felt great in your body? And how often do you feel tense or overwhelmed or just on the edge during a day? So there's a new health paradigm. And I would say that prevention is power. It's empowerment, is to take charge of your health. And we don't need to wait for a fire to install a smoke detector. So why wait for disease to take actions for our health? So we have to know that there's no perfect plan. The one is the one that fits you and your body and your life, depending on your genetic predisposure, your culture, your needs, age, sex. And then we have to integrate it also into an integrative and holistic view, as there is also health is also about food, it's about movement, it's about your sleep, it's about our stress environment, and also your mindset. And it is also root cause and system based, as your body is one intelligent system, and each system, each organ are communicating to each other's, and we have to see it as a whole and not as parts. So what is functional nutrition? We see food as medicine, and every bite is a biochemical message that can help us to lower the inflammation. It can support detox pathways. It can help balance hormones and neurotransmitters, but also nourish our mitochondria, which are the powerhouses of the cells. They're producing energy, but it also nourishes our mitochondrial microbiome and also our immunity. We have to also see nutrition beyond the plate. This is why we call it functional and integrative nutrition, is that our body responds to how we live and not just only what we eat. And our daily rhythms, such as sleep, stress, movement, exposure to toxins, will have an impact on that. But also the food quality, our relationship, if we have toxic relationship around us, that will also impact how we will digest and the way we eat as well. And then we have your biochemistry as well. So we have to also take in account that we can tailor food protocols according to our lab results, looking at blood markers. It would also depend on in which state we are in our life, in which cycle we are, our family history, but also our future goals. So we have to balance nutrient deficiency, but also take care of digestive issues and also metabolic blockages. And then we have also eating psychology. You're not just what you eat, but it also depends who you are as an eater. It's how, when, why you eat. And this are questions that I also integrate in my practice. It's asking yourself why you have cravings, why you're having bloating, why you're having fatigue or anxiety. Is it only because of what you eat, or is it because of other things? So our eating behavior, our timing, and our emotional state will impact how our body will digest, absorb, and eliminate. So what are the symptoms that we should be listening to? For example, energy and mood. If there is a chronic fatigue that doesn't improve with rest, if you have brain fog or poor focus, if you have persistent cravings, mood swings, or just low motivation despite your good habits. It might be skin, sleep, or immunity issues. So a lot of people suffer from acne, eczema, or dryness, frequent infections or slow healing as well. Trouble waking, with waking up refreshed, or histamine reactions as well, such as sneezing, hives, headaches after eating certain foods. And then we have a very common one, which is digestion and hormones. So suffering from digestive discomfort, such as bloating, constipation, diarrhea, or alternation, but also reflux as well. For women, it's PMS, so premenstrual syndrome, or irregular cycles, or other hormonal imbalances, but also sleep disturbances, such as trouble falling asleep, staying asleep, waking up at night. It could also be weight resistance or unexplained changes in your weight. So what do we do with all this information? We have to integrate it. So first of all, we need to know our body. It's about decoding our symptoms and patterns and give clarity to confusion and understand our individual needs. And it's also about making or building habits that that will stick long term, or that we're ready to also optimize that we're already doing. So consistency, repetition with intention, not restriction, that we focus on this consistency over intensity, and listening to our body as well. So when we can, it's about personalizing your own path by aligning nutrition, lifestyle, and rhythms to your biology, life stage, and goals. And it might be interesting as well to track progress with kindness, not with punishment or pressure, because tracking can be a good way to build awareness about how your body is reacting, such as heart rate variability, such as connected devices, such as rings, or also what is it called, clocks as well, or even what I have here, it's a CGM, a continuous glucose meter, to check your glucose levels on a daily basis. So this is where transformation becomes reality, and that we are aware of what we do. We have a feedback on how our body is actually reacting. So if we're taking charge of our health and if we do these changes, it might have some side effects. You might feel great. You might feel lighter. You might feel happier and empowered. So we gain in energy because when we stabilize blood sugar, we also have better oxygenation and deeper cellular vitality. Better sleep and recovery, improve gut health and clearer skin, regulated cycles and hormones, and we feel just better, in better mood. We have less anxiety, because these are actually this is our brain, how we nourish our brain, how we nourish our neurotransmitters. by adopting the right nutrient support, and we feel more confident around food and body. So what can you do today? Already, how to balance your blood sugar. First of all, you start your meals by having always a protein source, a healthy fat source, and a lot of fiber. This will balance your blood sugar, and it can just be by starting your meal with a salad, because by adding those fibers and some olive oil, that will lower the blood sugar response, and then we'll have a huge impact on your energy levels after a meal. So end your meal with the carbs, or do as I do. You can check your blood sugar with a continuous glucose meter, and you see what foods you're reacting to. And then you can start your day before you're having your coffee or your tea. You hydrate with water, and you might also put some electrolytes or sea salt in it in order to absorb better that hydration. So it's not about rules or black or white. It's smart tools. It's those daily actions with intention that can make that can be a game changer for you. So just taking a 10-minute walk after a meal is enough to get the digestion going and avoid that bloating, for example. So that comes to what you can expect from a consultation in nutrition. So how I work is that I will always have a deep dive health questionnaire where we will explore your symptoms, your history, your lifestyle, your emotional patterns, to try to map out some root causes and work upon your personal goals as well, and try to decode your own health path. I also work with functional lab testing, such as Dutch test. So Dutch test is that dried urine test. So it's comprehensive hormone testing, can be done on women and men, but mostly women are doing it, as for fertility or for premenopause or even postmenopause as well, to be able to understand better your hormonal imbalances. Of course, I'm doing GI map, so microbiome testing, so that's gut health. I also do glycan age testing, which is more like it's a bioage test that will look on the inflammation of the body, and it's more a longevity test than the others. DNA core is a genetic predisposition, so it's not about looking at the whole your genetic code, but just some snippets, small nucleotide polymorphisms, so only a few hundreds, to be able to understand what your predispositions are in. It could be for blood sugar imbalances or sweet tooth for that. There is also for stress, for detoxification, for even for activity, what kind of activity we should do, if it's more endurance or more weight training, for example. So that are actually scientifically known snippets that will help us understand more or decode our own biology. And from this, with or without functional lab testing, of course, I do personalized nutrition and lifestyle plans together with the person. So it's a teamwork always, tailored to your biology goals and rhythms as well. And it's important for me to have this ongoing coaching and support, because it's the accountability, the clarity that will empower you to make action. That makes changes last over time. So we're coming to the end of this. I hope I'm not too late. The future of the health is in our hands. So prevention is power, prevention care is the future. And in these small steps, you have to know that we don't have to make huge changes to have great impact. And I like this quote also from Thomas Edison: the doctor of the future will give no medicine, but will interest his patients in the care of the human frame, diet, and the cause of prevention of disease. So to finish up, I have a free guide for you. If you can scan this QR code and go to free guides, you will get how to build a healthy plate. And if you have any personal questions, if there is anything that is blocking you, you are more than welcome to book a free phone call with me, and I will put in the discussions all my my contacts and also the links. And I have the pleasure to say that IFO-global offers you the first consultation with me. So I'll send a link, and I will be very happy to help you on your health journey. Pass it over to Lucien. Merci beaucoup.
Merci, Lizette. Thank you very much. This was very insightful and very interesting, in fact.
It was intense. I know.
Yeah, I know. And I'm sorry about the time constraint. I know that I put a lot of pressure on you so that you can finish on time. And obviously, the material is so huge that you need maybe more time, but I leave it to next sessions, hopefully, or maybe on private sessions where you will be able to deliver more and more information to each of you.
Yes. So if there's anyone who's got a subject that is interesting you in particular, please communicate it, and I'll try to do something around these subjects that you're interested in.
Yeah. Je continue en français. D'abord, je redis ce que j'ai dit. Pardon. OK. Donc, Lisette, encore merci. Merci beaucoup, c'était très intéressant. Il apparaît clairement que, au-delà des médicaments, évidemment, la prévention est très importante dans notre vie de tous les jours. Donc, dans la prévention des maladies chroniques, dans la prévention des maladies graves, des maladies très graves même, et qu'on serait surpris en fait des bienfaits d'une nutrition contrôlée, d'une nutrition saine. Notamment, tu as fait référence à un certain nombre de régimes, notamment le régime méditerranéen, le régime crétois. Et effectivement, donc, de plus en plus, on réalise que nous sommes submergés par de la nourriture malsaine et que nous avons tendance à moins bien manger qu'il ne le faut. Et que finalement, il suffit de quelques habitudes et d'un peu de volonté pour se sentir mieux. Et croyez-moi, ça vaut la peine. Avant de passer à vos questions, parce que j'ai vu qu'il y avait quelques questions, je voulais juste vous dire quelque chose d'assez important en fait concernant donc l'assurance santé. De plus en plus aujourd'hui dans les programmes et dans les plans de santé, du fait de l'augmentation incroyable du coût des traitements liés à la santé, notamment les maladies graves avec les nouvelles technologies, nous avons de plus en plus aujourd'hui des compagnies d'assurance et des compagnies de réassurance qui assurent les assureurs, qui vont finalement imposer, je pense, dans un délai très court, qu'il y ait des programmes de prévention qui sont intégrés dans les polices d'assurance, de sorte à ce que les personnes qui suivent des traitements, enfin des programmes pardon, de prévention et de wellness vont voir le prime diminuer probablement avec le temps parce que c'est un gage que ce sont des personnes qui font attention à leur santé et qui ne vont pas coûter beaucoup avec le temps à l'assureur. Sachant que, pour vous donner un petit exemple, aujourd'hui, même la sécurité sociale en France a des problèmes des problèmes financiers du fait de l'augmentation du coût de la santé et donc du non-alignement entre les primes perçues et le coût des sinistres. Et qu'effectivement, aujourd'hui, donc, même, je pense, les autorités françaises vont, à un moment donné, je le dis parce que je pense que c'est logique, finalement, je ne vais pas dire obliger, mais orienter les assurés ou les adhérents à la Caisse nationale de sécurité sociale de suivre des programmes de prévention et de wellness pour justement coûter moins donc, à la Caisse d'assurance maladie, etc. De toute façon, indépendamment donc, de l'avenir de l'assurance, je pense très honnêtement, et je le dis parce que je l'ai aussi expérimenté avec toi, Lisette, je pense que c'est très important aujourd'hui de réaliser à quel point, avec un peu d'effort, avec un peu de volonté, on peut transformer nos corps, on peut transformer notre vie, se sentir beaucoup mieux. Ça ne coûte pratiquement rien à part un petit effort. Et croyez-moi, comme on dit, l'habitude est une deuxième nature. Vous verrez que vous vous habituerez, et plus le temps passera, et plus avancera, et plus vous verrez que vous vous sentez tellement bien que vous n'avez plus envie de reprendre vos anciennes habitudes. Et bon, en tout cas, c'est un programme, évidemment, c'est un vaste programme, comme on dit, mais il faut commencer quelque part. Donc, voilà, donc, Lisette, tu l'as dit gentiment, mais en fait, ce que nous essayons d'offrir à nos clients, c'est pas pour des raisons pécuniaires, c'est pas parce qu'ils ne peuvent pas se permettre, mais c'est parce que nous voulons, nous souhaitons, en fait, que nos assurés, qui sont très importants à nos yeux et desquels on veut vraiment très bien s'occuper, parce que c'est un peu ce qui nous différencie peut-être des autres acteurs du marché que nous respectons bien évidemment. C'est notre souci de les accompagner pour qu'ils se sentent mieux, qu'ils se sentent plus à l'aise dans leur corps et qu'ils vivent évidemment plus longtemps, pas seulement pour rester assurés chez IFO et nous payer des primes, mais surtout pour qu'ils puissent avoir une vie heureuse, pleine de beaux souvenirs et pleine de belles aventures. Donc nous vous offrons à tous ceux qui le désirent évidemment une première consultation avec Lisette et croyez-moi, ça vaut la peine. C'est vrai que quand on fait une présentation comme ça que Lisette a fait, ça a l'air très compliqué, mais en fait, c'est très simple. Vous allez être reçu par Lisette. Elle va vous faire un petit diagnostic qui est très simple, en fait, mais qui est très détaillé pour essayer de comprendre exactement quelles sont vos attentes, quels sont vos objectifs, quelles sont vos faiblesses par rapport à chacun d'entre nous, à ses propres faiblesses, mais surtout vous accompagner ensuite en vous disant voilà ce qu'il faut faire et suivre avec vous au fur et à mesure l'évolution et le progrès, la progression du programme de wellness qu'elle va mettre en place avec vous. Et croyez-moi, au bout de la deuxième séance, vous allez revenir chez elle en courant, en lui disant merci Lisette, c'est extraordinaire, je me sens déjà beaucoup mieux. Et il suffit de perdre un peu de poids, manger un peu mieux, l'énergie revient, le sommeil revient, la sérénité revient, l'anxiété disparaît. Et vous verrez, je pense que ça va vous faire beaucoup de bien. En tout cas, nous, notre rôle est de vous guider, et c'est ce que nous essayons de faire. Donc, je vous invite à vous rapprocher de Lisette. Il y a donc évidemment la brochure qu'elle a mis à votre disposition pour que vous voyez un peu de quoi il s'agit, ce qu'elle appelle le Free Guide. Mais ensuite, évidemment, il y a les contacts de Lisette. Vous pouvez prendre contact avec elle. Et encore une fois, elle, évidemment, du fait de notre collaboration, je veux dire stratégique, c'est un mot un peu savant, mais de notre collaboration, en tout cas très agréable, vous allez avoir le plaisir de travailler avec quelqu'un et d'abord qui est très humain et qui est très professionnel et qui va vous faire beaucoup de bien. Donc j'espère en tout cas, Lisette, que tu vas pouvoir t'occuper de nos clients, de nos assurés qui sont un peu notre famille, parce que nous sommes un family office et tous nos assurés, nous les considérons comme des membres de notre grande et belle famille. Et voilà, donc je vous remercie. Je sais que c'était un peu long. Lisette l'a dit, c'est le premier webinaire, donc bear with us si ce n'était pas parfait. Peut-être que ce n'était pas parfait, mais on a fait de notre mieux. Le prochain sera encore plus intéressant. On vous invitera, vous serez peut-être plus nombreux. Merci pour ceux qui se sont prêtés au jeu et merci pour l'intérêt que vous avez porté à ce webinaire. Nous avons quelques questions. Lisette, je pense que tu dois les voir.
Ouais, je vais prendre quelques minutes. Merci, Lucien. Effectivement, there's small steps with big impact, but we need to feel. On a besoin d'être, d'avoir une information, de le vivre aussi, hein, pour comprendre. C'est pas seulement de comprendre, mais le vivre. J'ai une question donc intéressante autour de sleep disturbances. So, how do you cope with aging that increases sleep disturbances? 4 to 5 hours versus 6 to 7 hours, specifically if you want to avoid any kind of sleeping pills. So when it comes to aging, okay, sleep is also multifactorial, and we have to know that sleep starts with when you wake up. We have to be exposed to sunlight or light because sometimes we don't have the sunlight early in the morning. So sunlight exposure from the beginning of the day will help us also with sleep. But it might also be a question of nutritional imbalances as well, having heavier meal at night, depending on the composition of the meal as well, how close it is also to getting into bed. Sometimes there are also some supplementation that can help with sleeping better. Not so we can avoid taking sleeping pills for that. So it's all about rhythm and how we integrate nutrition also during the day. So it's multifactorial, and we have to know that there's some people, so we have to democratize this as well. Some people, I'm not telling, it's very small part, it's 10% of the population, if not less, only need 4 or 5 hours of sleep. So it's also about acceptance of our own rhythms if we need more or less sleep. But yeah, I hope that answered the question. Multifactorial as well. So there was another interesting question about fasting, and fasting, yes, as a method of treating chronic diseases. So it can be a part of a program as well. I'm very keen on intermittent fasting or time restricted eating as well. So that comes into sleep as well, like just letting 12 hours from when we eat at night to the other morning is what we call time restricted eating. It will reset our metabolic state. Intermittent fasting is also interesting for different reasons, such as weight management, resetting the metabolic state as well, being more sensitive to insulin, lower that inflammation, and also fasting. It depends because there's therapeutic fasting as well, and this I suggest to do it under medical surveillance if it's more than 2-3 days of fasting. It's very important to know where we come from, what's my biological, physiological state while I'm starting this fasting. So we really have to know where we come from and where we're going as well, and to have this surveillance when it comes to longer fasting. But it's a strategy that comes into that we can take that we can use also because some fasting or time restricted eating or intermittent fasting might lower the calorie intake, and we can feel our hunger and satiety more when we reduce that time. Do you have to take any supplement or vitamins after 50? This is very personal as well. We have to look at your symptoms, your needs. It's not always necessary to take supplements. And as I always say as well, and what we say en français, on dit des béquilles, les compléments alimentaires, je les utilise comme des béquilles. So it's a short time. There are some essential ones, such as vitamin D, magnesium, and omega-3s that I suggest for everyone. It's like the basics. But you might be 50 and above and not having anything on your blood markers. or symptoms. So why take vitamins if you have a diverse diet and feel great?
Et je ne sais pas s'il y a d'autres questions. Moi, je vois sur mon écran, je ne pense
Je pense
pas
qu'on
qu'il y
a
ait d'autres questions.
répondu à...
Ça veut dire que ta
Dis-moi.
présentation était très complète et que finalement, on va garder les questions pour les visites en personne. Euh, bon, d'abord, je vous remercie encore une fois à tous. Lisette,
Oui, merci.
thank you so much, Lisette. I know that this was a complicated exercise, talking to strangers, but hopefully they will not be strangers anymore to you because you will meet most of them. Merci,
Avec plaisir, avec grand plaisir. Ben, on se
merci.
reverra peut-être dans un autre webinaire
Oui,
ou
c'est sûr.
peut-être en personne.
C'est ça, exactement. Et merci à l'équipe, merci à Laura
Don't
pour
hesitate
organiser ce
to reach
webinaire.
out. Merci beaucoup IFO-global, merci Lucien.
Merci, Lisa.
C'était un plaisir.
C'est un plaisir partagé. À très bientôt, tout le monde. Juste que vous sachiez, nous allons probablement commencer à faire des podcasts sur tout ce que tous les plans sur lesquels nous travaillons, notamment dans la prévention, dans le cadre de la prévention et du wellness. Nous vous tiendrons informés. Il y aura d'autres sujets très importants. On va vous garder évidemment informés. Sachez que nous sommes en train de travailler sur une mobile app aussi dans laquelle que vous pourrez consulter et aussi sur le website d'IFO-global pour que vous suiviez les dernières nouveautés en matière de prévention de santé et qu'il y aura quelques petites surprises aussi pour vous qui vous permettront de monitorer en temps réel votre programme de prévention et de wellness en tout cas. Merci encore à tous. Hope to see you all soon, very soon. Thank you for your trust. Thank you for being members of this IFO family. Lizette, thank you et à très bientôt et bonne soirée.
Bonne soirée à tous.
Merci, au revoir.